Drag racing fan, Between the Slicks live once again. This is episode 3 of this week. It's actually episode 185 in the course of Between the Slicks going live and airing here on the Monday Morning Racer platform. We also welcome you on the Competition Plus Facebook page. Wherever you're at, hit the like button, hit the share button, and dive into the comments section. Let us know where you are watching from, what you thought about March Meet, because we're going to get a word on the man behind it all, Blake Bowser, the now promoter of the March Meet, as well as the California Hot Rod Reunion. News there as well that we certainly can discuss. March Meet, as I have been discussing with the winners in AA Fuel Altered, Kyle Huff, and in Top Fuel, Pete Kaiser, and John Capps in Nitro Funny Car, that March Meet was, well, a meet to remember for the 67th Good Vibrations Motorsports March Meet at Famoso Drag Strip in 2025. So we're going to get a behind-the-scenes take on the meet with Mr. Bowser in just a few moments. Remember, on the Monday Morning Racer platform, you have full elimination coverage out now of Nitro Funny Car, AA Fuel Altered, and also Top Fuel Eliminator. I do want to give a shout out to Chad Reynolds at bangshift.com. He's been kind enough to post a link and put on bangshift.com the AA Fuel Altered coverage as well as the Nitro Funny Car coverage. So, Chad, appreciate that. Thank you. Well, folks, without any further ado, we're going to take a break and then bring on Mr. Bowser and talk March Meet along with you. The Top Fuel coverage was brought to you by Ross Racing Engines and Hilton Hot Rods. This word from them, then Mr. Bowser, live on Between the Slicks. Ross Racing Engines of Niles, Ohio, built this bad power plant for Tyler Hilton and Team Great Expectations 3, currently #1 qualifier at the 2025 March Meet. And whether it's Hemi power or power for your application on dirt track or asphalt short track racing and beyond, even into the hot rodding scene, Ross Racing Engines is your one-stop shop for everything for your power plant. No matter the application, they do nearly everything in-house. They are not outsourcing at Ross. So whether it's racing or rodding, you need Ross Racing Engines. Blake Bowser, welcome to Between the Slicks. First time I've had you on my show. It's been routine to have you on the Power Hour on Competition Plus, so always enjoy talking to you there. And that's usually a preview of the March Meet. We're going to be able to have a review of the March Meet here. And as I said earlier, man, what a meet it was. In general, before we dive in, your thoughts on the 67th March Meet, man.
Yeah, I'm still recovering. Yeah, it was good. Usually it's been a week, so I can quit closing the door behind me because usually my butt's about 10 minutes behind me. So it's all caught up now. We're good. But obviously, look, we're weather dependent on that race, and the weather was really, really ideal for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we're there, we're prepared, we got the equipment to do the race, we got the equipment to drive the track we need to, I got the staff, everybody's there. When the weather cooperates, it just makes it a whole lot easier, and we look really smart. We look really like we can put on a good drag race, which I know we can, but the weather calms everybody down. So, and that brings out the fans, which you saw, you were there in person. And Saturday was quite the day there. I think we actually lowered the elevation of Bakersfield a little bit.
I would not disagree. That place was, I remember seeing a good crowd in 2023 because Saturday was a fairly decent day, and Sunday there was rain, racing on Monday for Altereds and for Funny Car. But
yeah,
wow, this crowd was packed. There was a lot of folks that they had attended many March meets, and they've like, we haven't seen it like this in a few years. That was a spectacular crowd on Saturday.
No, you're right. And it's all weather. 23, we had weather. 24, we lost Saturday basically almost all day to weather. So this weekend, this past event was it was lined up, everything aligned, and the cars performed well. They most of them cooperated. Not a lot of oil, so that's always nice. But we had things to do, to entertain the fans if that happened too. So no, it's just everything aligned. It was just a great weekend, and on to the next one. That's how we do it. It's time for the next one, which you mentioned earlier on the intros, the California Hot Rod Reunion coming up now. That's our next big push. Starting next week, I'll be in Pomona, actually promoting the event and talking on the PA upstairs, and going on the next one.
Yes, y'all are doing a good job. When there were a few occasions that there was an oil down or something had happened on track, the crew was out there throwing the merchandise. Hot Wheels. Y'all had whole Hot Wheels going out into the crowd. I'm like, oh, I want one. This is pretty cool. I can't believe whole Hot Wheels going out. I mean, all the little boys and girls and the old boys and girls were lined up trying to get these Hot Wheels. That was pretty cool. The Frisbees and everything. Smart move. Too many times promotions they'll just eat it. Like, okay, we're just going to be down for a while. And
right.
I think we've learned that you cannot be down at any time during a race and an event in this modern day. You've got to do something.
Silence is deadly. Yeah. And you can't rely on the equipment being out there taking care of the track. You've got to keep these fans engaged somehow. So, yeah, I mean, it starts at the gate. 15 and under are free at the March meet and the reunion. So, that gets these races have been declining a little bit in attendance as far as the age group that's coming, right? We're seeing, sadly, the group that would come out here years ago, like the first reunion in 92. Well, these guys were 50 years old. Now they're in their 80s. And sadly, we're losing quite a few of them. So we just had to figure out a way to regenerate the attendance and bring in the youth factor. And we've done that, I think. I saw a lot of kids out there at the event. So that's the beginning of the preview show we did before the event. We talked about trying to rebuild this thing and bring up the new generation. And then while they're there, we want to give them a good time, show them a good race, let them get some free stuff, and have fun. So overall, we're there to have a good time. Leave your drama outside the gate, show up, act like it's 1970 all over again if you were alive back then, and go home to reality on Monday. So that's our attitude out there. We just there to have a good time, and certainly when the cars are running well and the weather is nice, it's much easier to do so.
Certainly the case. And look, I saw a lot of young couples, teenagers, young. There was a great spread concerning age range. It was not just a bunch of silver and white-headed folks. Yeah, they were certainly there and enjoying and reminiscing, but there were those partaking in the greater nostalgia trip that is a part of our culture. And March Meet certainly provides that within car culture, from being able to pick up Moon Eyes paraphernalia to the March itself, the car show in the Grove. The swap meet. There's a lot I didn't even get to. How was the swap meet? How was the car show? What are the words on that side of the event that, with being so involved in covering, I really didn't even get to enjoy?
Yeah. And I'm guilty of that too, Lee. I'm stuck in an office running my ticketing, the gates and all that, and staying in touch with everybody. But I'm getting the chatter, over the radios and stuff. Car show was great. We had 250 plus out there for the car show. Swap meet spaces over 125. Vendor row was nice. Car count was about 400 cars. So I'm just kind of recapping everything. Our RV side was overflowing, and in a good way. A number of camping units, let's put it that way. When I say overflowing. So we spill over into the pit side. Once that fills up, we started doing that on Saturday. So everything just lined up. Everything was good. And, the kid thing, I want to give a shout out to Jim and James Mayer at Good Vibrations. They're our title sponsor. It is the Good Vibrations March Meet. And their support lets us do this, lets the kids in for free. Let's just give stuff to the kids and the big kids too. We're okay with that, So it's just, again, we're just rebuilding these events, and we're seeing it. We saw the kids out there. We saw their parents. We saw their grandparents. I think we have a good thing going here. So hopefully we can repeat in October for the reunion and go from there. But overall, everything was great. I got out a little bit, but I'm really guilty of be like you are. You're so busy working behind the scenes, getting the data fed to you and getting it out, that it's hard to get out and take it all in. But I get enough feedback from all my staff there that everything was pretty good.
Honestly, walking down the Midway, just beyond, and also part of right there next to the Grove, that
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, man, this is national event level, if not better, honestly, than what I would see at a national event. But in mind of some of the national events and where it has got to there being on the midway of a national event. So, just from that side, what a spectacular show. You had a little bit of everything. You could walk away with some very interesting items, to tools, to memorabilia, to diecast, to, I saw some flannel that caught my eye. It was all there at the March meet.
Yeah, and we're rebuilding the event due to COVID too, right? And we used to have a midway that would go down the entire quarter mile. We'd have vendors there with crate motors and just so much stuff, filter companies, everything. So, a lot of companies are still kind of coming out of all that and getting back on the road. And so, and we're during Gainesville too. So I lose some vendors there. I lose some pros, a Ron Capps wants to be there, a Cruz Pedregon. So, although we had a few missing elements, overall the event was great. Would I prefer not to be on top of Gainesville? Absolutely. Alan Bridges at Simpson is one name that loves to be there, tries to make it, but when you got to be in Gainesville, you got to be in Gainesville. So I know it broke Ron Capps' heart not to be there. I sent him a picture on Saturday of the crowd. He was just like, oh, I can't believe I'm missing it. So, but overall, great event. And just so many different things. There's women selling purses, and there's just, engine parts, tools. The swap meet is what's cool. Just you can find anything you want there. And we're just blessed they come out. We're just really happy that the people come out and support the event.
So when it's as successful as it was, especially on Saturday, you've got people parking out in the orchards. Like, do you get phone calls like from the farmers? But hey, we need such and such car moved out of row 24 in field 3.
Yeah, not too much there. Luckily, most of the land is owned by one company out there, so they understand. Now, one thing we do is when the event's over on Monday, the first thing we do is go out and clean out front. We don't want these farmers to complain that there's trash or anything in their orchard, and that folks just pull up off the road there and point into the the orchard there. So they're respectful. They don't drive over anything. Or now we had some people that get blocked in, double parked, whatever. As you get closer to the event, so that's always a little bit of a parking issue, but those are all good problems to have. So, our farming community out there, like, they understand the importance of the event, what it brings to the community. It obviously it books hotel rooms, it books, it makes restaurants busy, it makes liquor stores and grocery stores and gas stations, and it brings a lot of revenue to the community. So everybody understands it. Everybody just kind of sits back and lets it happen. But in the end, we all benefit from an event like that.
Absolutely. Just my personal experience there from Wednesday through Monday.
Yeah.
I paid a visit to the Cozy Cone in a side of Bakersfield that I probably shouldn't have been in, but man, that was a good burger. I paid a visit to La Hacienda, and and then I found Milt's Diner and ate there several times. I mean, I've paid for a couple employees I know just in what I purchased in food out there in Bakersfield. So you certainly got an influx of people coming in, and it's great that the community that is Bakersfield and Kern County really appreciate what's happened, because I did a little bit of research, Blake, because Kern is just so different, and looked at like presidential elections from like Roosevelt up to recently with Trump. Yeah. And I think the last time that Kern County, just the county, went blue, Democratic, was like Lyndon B. Johnson or something like that. It has been a long time. It's just different in the grand landscape of California.
You're right. Yeah. Kern County is a bit of a little bit of a dot there on the blue state of California. But that's what we are. We're oil, we're ag, we're hardworking people, a lot of blue collar folks. And, that's unique to our area. And that goes back to, you didn't even get to didn't get to one of the restaurants here, or a style we have, which is Basque food, Basque. There's a huge Basque population here. They came over they're right next to France and Spain. There's a huge population here. So, and they were the sheep herders and all the, the hardworking people that just came up and come through this area. And it's a lot of good, hardworking people here, and they love to go out and have a good time, and they vote accordingly. What you said earlier, it's pretty red here. So, not trying to get political, but it's just good, hardworking people, and they're willing to separate their dollars if you're going to give them a good time, and we do that.
Certainly, the March meet can provide that good time routinely.
Yeah.
Now, I would imagine this March meet, though, as good as it was different. And how different was it for you personally? Last year, if I remember correctly, you lost your dad. He's passed on, and you're in a different situation with Famoso Drag Strip. There's new leadership there. You're really more of a promoter role with March meet and the California Hot Rod Reunion. So, first time out of the gate in that mode.
Yeah.
What did you think? How did it feel?
Definitely was different. I miss my dad every day. I made sure I pulled the wristband out of the pile that was his favorite number, which is 35. So 35 was up in the tower all weekend in my dad's honor. So that was kind of fun. And although, and this is why I'm going to backtrack to why I made the change in the track is my dad and I always worked together. We could always divide the tasks. So I lost my dad. I had to start taking on all of that, not complaining, certainly was happy to do it. I did a lot of that when he was sick. But I realized that the track needed more attention. It needed someone out there giving it more attention. So working with Tim Huddleston on that, solved that problem. He's taking care of the day-to-day at the track, putting on his races. And that lets me step back and really work hard and concentrate on the March meet and the reunion. And I think we saw the benefits of that. Obviously the weather is a big factor, but you got to have the race promoted. You got to get it out there. You got to get the word out that people got to know about it. So that's my job. And, I owe it to the racers. I owe it to the fans. I owe it to everybody, the vendors, the media, such as yourself. Everyone's got to come there, and the race has to work. So when you're able to step back and really methodically go through each of those steps, I'm involved in logo design and T-shirt designs and making the schedule and where people park in the pits. So the ticketing, all the booths, all that. I'm involved in all that. So letting the track go and allowing myself to concentrate on the event itself is really it's going to be really good going forward. I think we saw a little hint of that this past March meet, and it's just a change that I had to do. To be able to really give these races, you mentioned a national event. These are national events for the nostalgia guys. The March meet and the reunion are the two largest nostalgia races there are, and they are national events for these guys. So we need to give it that much attention, right? So that's what I'm going to do.
I agree. Yes. And I'm so glad that I decided to go west instead of stay east. And to everyone down there at the Gator National, sorry. Hey, it happens. It even happens at March meet, but hit it right for sure out there at Bakersfield this year. And yeah, man, look, my condolences to you. Bakersfield has a special place in my heart because, my dad passed in 2022. Well, he drove a truck. And first time I ever went to Bakersfield, I was on a truck with him.
Nice.
And I can remember coming out off the pass down into Bakersfield, and we picked up grapes just north, like Delano or Delno or something.
Delano.
Yep, there we go. And, the first time I was ever back to Bakersfield was 2023 for the March meet after my dad had passed. So, even this time, nostalgia trip for me because I went over the Mojave for the first time since with my dad. So it's a special place for me, and certainly it's a special place for a ton of people, and it is a granddaddy of them all type of event. And that's one reason why I took the time to talk to all the winners, talk to you, because I think as the media, we've got to do some work along with you to build this thing back up, that more
Yeah.
people flock to it and
Yeah.
cover it. And it's not just Comp Plus and it's not just Monday Morning Racer, but it's a broader spectrum
Yeah.
covering the March meet.
Well, it's a legitimate event. I mean, when you talk to John Capps or a Pete Kaiser or anybody else, well, you were down there with me at the top end passing out trophies and recording it, and they all get emotional. I mean, it still means something, and that's all the way down, all the classes down into hot rod. And these guys get that trophy, and it hits them. They realize they have won a big, important event, and it's historical. I mean, you mentioned 67 years. Yeah, it's been going since '59. It means a lot to win that, and I'm proud to promote this event. But yes, you make a great point that we need to rally some more media that takes this seriously. It's a very serious, and you go talk to anybody who's won this. You talk to Don Perdome, he'll tell you that win that he got, 62, I believe, put him on the map. I mean, that's the case for Garlits and Muldowney, and go down the list. Mongoose, John Force. That this just elevates them a little bit and puts them on the map. And so now we're doing this in the nostalgia world. Certainly we're not tied to the national event, international event. So that probably is where the effort needs to go, is we need to let everybody know that these guys are winning a national event. It's just over here in this other genre of racing.
Absolutely. No, I like that angle, and you're right. Absolutely. It should really be presented that way. Now, Blake,
Yep.
You are there, you're promoting, you're behind the scenes, and all in the cogs and the wheels of this event. When we look at what transpired through qualifying and race day, from your perspective, your eyes, what were some of the surprises in those who made the show, didn't make the show, and those who won and those who lost? What are some things that stand out for you competition wise, as we've talked with Kyle Huff and Pete Kaiser and John Capps, the winners in the top professional classes, but all the other winners as well throughout the other classes, such as 7.0 Pro and beyond? What stands out story-wise for you?
So initially I'm going to kind of answer this in a roundabout way. Initially, I was a little, our car count was off this year overall. In the nitro categories, we didn't have as many as I'd hoped we were going to have. We had 22 funny car. I'd like to have maybe 25, 28 there. So we're off by a few. Top Fuel was about normal, 11, 12, 13 cars. 11 showed. I think 13 were going to come. A couple had issues before they could make it. Fuel Alter was off a little bit. And it actually also our lower categories were off some. We were off by maybe 40, 50 cars overall for the whole event. But it allowed us to have a little more time to give them more time on the track, not just jam, 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 go, go, go. And I think that slows everybody down, gives everybody a chance to double check everything, make sure everything's tight, ready to go, puts on a much better show. Funny car is always just unpredictable as far as who, you got your hitters, you got your, Bucky Austin's car, you got a few funny cars out there that Shane's doing a great job driving Bucky's car. That green car is always going to be around. But I'll tell you what, John Capps figured it out real quick, didn't he? And that was cool to see. So that was kind of a fun surprise. I really can't say I'm pulling for anybody, but I like to see, some people, fresh faces in the winner's circle for sure. Who doesn't? Obviously, Kyle winning Fuel Alter, that was, huge. And Top Fuel, it came down to the two cars that should have been in the final, right? I mean, Tyler Hilton and Pete Kaiser, those were the two cars on the property that were dominant from Thursday's test session all the way through. So our sportsman categories, we get a lot of winners that come and race at the ANRA series, which starts in April out there, American Nostalgia Racing Association. There's 5 races a year. So we've got guys that race 5 races a year with ANRA, Butch Hedrick series. And then March Meet and Reunion, they're there. That's their home track. So we see a lot of the same guys win there. But why wouldn't they? They're there getting a lot of data on that track, and they know how to run in different inclement, weather, hot, cold, a little bit of rain, whatever. So not a lot of big surprises there in the sportsman. Funny Car is always wide open, and Top Fuel, I think, was pretty predictable there. You can see the 2 heavy cars, hitters there, and then Fuel Altered is just you're at the mercy of the fuel altereds, right? I mean, anybody can win that thing. So we saw it. We saw, Pete Peterson have a fuel tank explode. I mean, that car was number one qualifier, right? So, and couldn't make first round. So that's always exciting to see that drama play out. But overall, I hope I answered your question. Overall, it was just it's predictably unpredictable. Put it that way.
No, absolutely, I agree. And I mean, I can remember back to 2023. That was certainly an interesting March beat. And
Yeah.
look, I agree with you. I love seeing heads up racing, but it is so intriguing
Yeah.
what the fuel altered guys are doing on the 6.0
6.0
index on a nitromethane, no really electronic car,
Yeah.
playing the stripe in a nitro car. It's
Yeah.
just absolutely insane what they're doing and able to accomplish.
Yeah, we thought, when we first talked about that, and I always give, I don't know if you know Jeff Utterback, he's with In-N-Out Burger Racing Team, works for Lindsay. Jeff's driven nitro funny cars, fuel altereds, everything. We call him Sush. So we were sitting at the pits at Pomona promoting the March meet one year, and we had one of the fuel altereds, I think it was Estrus Racing fuel altered, sitting there. And we were just scratching our heads. How can we run fuel altered together? And we got a big contemporary car. We got a little short wheelbase, like that Estrus car. How do we run them together? And Jeff said, put them on index, put them on 6 seconds. Because you got some guys that can run 580s, 570s, some that can run 610, 620 with their tongues hanging out. So we thought about it all weekend. We kept thinking 6.0. Yeah, 6.0. I think that might work. And then we just let anybody can come. Doesn't matter what you got, dual mags, big pump. As long as the car is legal to what's on the car and the driver's legal to go 6 seconds, you can run it 85% in the tank, and we're happy. So, yeah, who would have thought we'd be index racing fuel altereds? But here we are, several years in, and it's pretty darn exciting.
Absolutely, it is really exciting to keep your eye on it, and then some people figure out like Mark Wynot with a 6007 in a nitromethane burning altered, but yet he doesn't come away with the win. Kyle does, and Kyle's story from literally wall to win is just such a great one in testing. So that could be I really feel like the storylines with concerning fuel altered, top fuel, and funny car, the winners certainly all capable, drivers, but you might not have picked them to be the odd in favorite, especially Tyler. Tyler was he was that number one car all weekend. He had just a little bit more. Yeah. And then, that green car, I mean, you see it in the other lane, that's a pretty good bet to go with Bucky and Shane at this point right now. So fascinating storylines, good storylines. You've got some great defending champions for 2026 and the 68th March meet. Speaking of that, hey, how soon does the planning start for the 68th?
So we'll I'm here at my house, my home office right now, with Cleet Norris. He's helping me get the purse knocked out, and then we'll get the invoices all paid by next month, April, and then we'll start laying the groundwork behind the scenes in June. But we launch our ticket sales for the reunion June 1st. So ticket sales for March meet won't happen until November. We'll do the same thing. We'll work on the reunion, put that to bed by the end of October, and then we'll launch March meet. So year round for me on the two. Behind the scenes though, I'm already working on, I've already got a shirt design in my head from the winners, the fuel winners there. I try and design the event shirt around the fuel winners every year. So looking at those cars and got some reds and some blacks already in it. It's already kind of taking shape in my head. So we'll do a lot of work behind the scenes in the summertime. And of course, we're obviously selling tickets for the reunion and taking entries on that basis too. So really it's year round for me. I don't really stop working on one and start the other. Certainly one sort of trends down and one trends up, but now with this new approach I'm doing, it's year round for me.
All right. Big question. Okay. Obviously, the NHRA is involved in this event. I mean, there was at least, I think, 3 divisional directors I saw. Right. I think so, whether it was helping work the track event and, Matt was snapping photos and, just a lot going on. The NHRA is involved. It's the NHRA track. It's not like they are completely hands off, but yet we get the schedule overlap that we all talk about that nobody wants, and it happens. And even Glenn Cromwell, we had him on the Competition Plus Power Hour, and he's like, looks like they're going to have great weather. We're excited for Blake. We're excited for Famoso, but yet we've got the overlap. So what is that discussion like? How can that get worked out? What's the practical mechanics of no overlap?
Yeah, Glenn and I are talking about that. We certainly don't like being on top of each other. Again, I mentioned, Glenn wants to come up. This is part of the NHRA Heritage Series, and a lot of Mike Rice couldn't be there. He's our competition director for this series. He had to be in Gainesville, which is why Mike Ings was there, our Division 6 director. And then Mark Dawson is a former employee of the track. He came out from 1, and then of course you saw Matt DeYoung there from 7. So they were all there. It's no fun to overlap. This all became an issue when we opened up the national event tour in Gainesville. It didn't used to be a problem. We would do Pomona, Phoenix, then go to Gainesville, and we'd always work out where. Now we're opening in Gainesville, and we have to get March has to be certain dates. I'm sorry, March, then April. I'm sorry, April. There's only a couple of weekends we can run Phoenix and Pomona because you've got Easter and you've got other things going on there. So, and then to get to Vegas, or into March, I guess it is. Yeah, into March. Then April is Vegas. So we don't like it. We may have to look at doing it one more time next year, just the way it shakes out with the way Gainesville opens up. And then you've got an off weekend for travel. Then you've got to get the next 2 weekends for Phoenix and Pomona. And then another off weekend, which usually is around Easter, and then Vegas. So it's not fun. But that's kind of our weekend. That first full 4-day weekend is the March Meet weekend. And we might just keep doing that for now, but I'm hoping that changes in the future. And no promises from Glenn, but they're talking about some schedule stuff, but I can't share anything that I don't know anything actually. So hopefully that works out in the future. It's not fun, but you know what? We had a great race. Those that were there had a good time, and we'll just keep doing that.
Spectacular. Yeah, I'm glad it's on the table. Glad it's part of the discussion. And
yeah, for sure.
Parties involved are like, we really have got to work on this, and working on what is next. California Hot Rod Reunion, and that big news, Nitro Revival is going to be a part of it now. It's certainly a loss to lose Irwindale, but it is a gain to have that a part of this program. So give us the rundown, Blake, on the California Hot Rod Reunion.
Yeah, no, Steve Gibbs had a perfect home there in Irwindale, and he knew it was coming to an end, and we were working behind the scenes for quite some time to make this happen. We've been talking for well over a year to try and see if we can make this work out for Steve and his daughter Cindy. And this is the one segment that the reunion lost when there's some stuff behind the scenes that happened with NHRA and Steve Gibbs. We don't need to go into detail. But I always remain friends with both sides, NHRA and Glenn and everybody there, and Steve Gibbs. Steve Gibbs was the first person I called back in 2007 when my family putting on the March Meet back in-house after Good Guys. First guy I called was Steve Gibbs. So Steve has been a friend of ours, family friend forever, love him to death. And so we're willing to do whatever it takes to keep this going for him. And the natural fit would be to bring the Cackle Cars back to the Hot Rod Reunion, which is where Steve is the one that started all this. I jokingly call him he's the Pied Piper of Cackle Cars. He's wherever they go or wherever he goes, they follow. So we worked out a deal. We're booking them into the event, and we're gonna pay them to be there, and they're gonna bring the Cackle Cars, and hopefully it all works out. I know we've already got a lot of guys committed. I think Steve said the other day there's over 40 cars already said they're coming. And Steve thinks we're going to have 60 total. So that's just Cackle Cars. Then we're going to have 60 more fuel cars there competing. So it's going to be one heck of a show. And we got to hit the ground running here pretty quick and get a lot of stuff prepared for that. I got to get the pits figured out big time. So we got to park a lot of fuel cars coming up, which is it's a great problem to have. We're happy to do it, and we are we're thrilled to help out Steve, and he's going to help us out. And I'm sort of the conduit in the middle between Steve and NHRA, and we're mending all those fences, and we're moving on. We're going to be happy. It's going to be a fun time.
Well, Blake, just a couple more questions
Sure.
Concerning March Meet, what you're doing. And I'm going to throw this out from a media standpoint. You have Competition Plus helping out. Drag Illustrated has got some coverage, Nitro Slam Dance, and, Monday Morning Racer. There's other outlets that show up, and legendary names like Dave Commel are there, snapping away. What would you like to see from the media, though? What else could we do for March Meet and Blake Bowser and Famoso Drag Strip in getting the word out beyond a Between the Slicks and a YouTube video and whatever else might be on your mind?
Yeah, leading up to the event, I think we could get a lot more, and that's incumbent on us. Get the information out, get everybody a packet of logos and information and schedule, and again, that's all stuff we can fix now. That now I'm not trying to run the whole facility; I'm just running 2 events. I say just to year-round work though, but now I can get that out to everybody like yourself, and get you guys all the facts, the schedules, everything, so you guys are informed. You know what's going on. We're always so guilty of just rolling right into the event and hoping that weather's nice, we pull it off. But we need to work on getting the word out more ahead of time. We do that with our advertising program and all that, but we don't rely on media such as yourself. And, I think we can do that. So a lot of that's going to be just us getting the word out to you guys. And then hopefully you guys can take care of that from there. And, then everybody comes to the event, and we get real good post-event coverage. We need to get pre-event coverage. So again, that's going to be our job, to get the word out, get the information to you guys, and hopefully you guys can put it out there for us.
Okay. I know. I like that idea. And I would agree. I think your post is pretty good. People show up, they got it. Oh, this event happened, and people are kind of, well, dang, I forgot about the March Meet. And then I'm watching
exactly
the post of it, because it's amazing how there's an event every year, but we tend to just in our lives just I forgot about it,
right.
But I agree. That'd be cool. No, we certainly work on that, and if can be a help to that, let us know. And
absolutely, thank you. Yeah, it's just something that we need to work harder on, right? And I'm going to attempt to do that for the reunion this year. Thankfully we are tied to NHRA with that deal, so we do get some exposure there through their outlets. But we can bring in some more extra media people to help us get this thing out there. And again, we're there to have a good time. We want all of you guys to come, but if you help us ahead of time, it makes it a lot easier for us to let you get in there and have a good time, and we'll take care of you, get you in, get you a good parking spot, hopefully. Not sure how that worked out for you this year, but if not, I'll take care of that.
Yeah, I thought I got to the track rather early on Saturday, and I'm like, whoa. I did not get here early enough, and I parked beyond the quarter-mile mark.
Okay.
And some team had lost at some point, and they pulled out. And later on that day, I noticed that their spot was open. I pulled up and got a lot closer. But that doesn't bother me. Look, overall,
well, those are all good problems to have,
the event
right?
going well.
Yeah. That means everybody's, if people are coming. When you can't find parking, that's a good problem to have. So
right, it really is. It really is. So, man, March Meet. The 67th version was spectacular. The 68th version, I know we're all hoping that it will be just as, if not even more spectacular. Blake, last question I've got for you. I've been asking all the winners this, and, you've been asked this a lot, but I want to give you the platform to reiterate it. That is, why is March Meet special, and why is it a must attend for race and fan?
I think it's been special since the very first one back in '59 when the Smokers brought out Don Garlits, and they paid him to come out. That back then we didn't have all shows like this or internet, nothing. It was what, Drag News, the Ed Iskandarian was the middleman, and he held the money. Smokers gave him the money, and Garlits got paid to show up because neither party believed what they were running on the East Coast and West Coast. So that just from that very first March Meet back in '59, it has just been special ever since. I think it's just because the whole country and now the whole world comes to the event, and it's just an annual pilgrimage of people from all over the place, and it's just an annual get together. It's a great chance to catch up on what's going on in everybody's lives, and the social atmosphere, as you've probably seen when the racing ends at night, is huge. There's barbecues, and I've always said if you could just get a ticket in the gate, you can show up and get fed and get plenty of drinks, whatever you want to drink, water, tea, alcohol. If you can just get yourself in the gate, you can go through that place and be entertained and fed and taken care of, and probably housed if you need to by somebody. And that's the unique atmosphere we have there. We've got a very special hollowed ground area, and we need to keep that, right? What we do here can't be done at a lot of tracks. No curfew, no restrictions on what kind of cars or anything. So and everyone just wants to keep having a good time. And so I think we just need to, if we can just keep capitalizing on that, that's what makes it such a unique event. It's just everyone's coming there to have a good time. And I jokingly say, leave your drama outside the gate, walk in, go home that on Monday, go home to whatever's going on in your world, stock market's out of whack, you're losing your job, your wife doesn't like you, whatever's going on, go home on Monday to that. But while you're here, treat it like it's a special landmark space, and act accordingly. And people do. They all buy in, they all come there and have a good time. And that's the special, approach we have to this thing every year. And boy, folks just show up and have a good time.
It is certainly a good time, and it certainly was a good time, Blake. Well, look, thank you for the good time here on the show, in the chat. Again, spectacular job to you, Famoso Drag Strip, for a successful 67th Good Vibrations Motorsports March meet. It was great.
Well, thank you for all your help, and your top-end interviews were great. And, you got to feel that emotion down there through all the winners. And, thank you so much for all your help. Look forward to you coming back again.
Yes, sir. Blake, have a good day.
Do the same.
Blake Bowser, promoter there for March Meet and the California Hot Rod Reunion. Guys, you have got to take a trip to Bakersfield. Get out to Famoso Drag Strip. If you are a drag racing fan or you're a drag racer, it's like Indy. It really is. It's right up there with Indy. It's a World Series of drag racing. It's that type of event, and it might very well have a new golden period ahead of it, with Blake able to really focus in on it and not having duties split with dealing with track matters, but that now with Mr. Huddleston. So we might be looking at a resurgence for March Meet. Now, certainly it's dependent on weather, and praise the Lord, we had some great weather this past March Meet. It was nice. Like, you could wear a hoodie or could not wear a hoodie. Like, you had an option, you had a choice, and it was comfortable either way. That was certainly great to have. And the show was put on accordingly, and it was a good show. You can catch the action from March Meet in the full elimination videos on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. Nitro Funny Car, AA Fuel Altered, and also Top Fuel Eliminator can be seen on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. And when I say that it can be seen, it is not just the cars making the laps down the drag strip. If you want to see that, you can. Competition Plus has a very trimmed and slimmed elimination coverage. But if you want to hear from the drivers and get some of the stories from the pits, I take the time to get in the pits, get the drivers on camera, and clue you in on what is happening round by round. And yes, there at the top end, getting interviews with the gentleman that won the 67th Good Vibrations Motorsports March Meet, that being Kyle Huff in AA Fuel Altered, Pete Kaiser in Top Fuel Eliminator, and also John Capps in Nitro Funny Car. All of those racers we have already spoke with on previous episodes of Between the Slicks. Kyle Huff, we got him alone on one episode to talk AA Fuel Altered, and then yesterday we spoke with the winner there in Top Fuel, Pete Kaiser, and the winner in Nitro Funny Car, John Capps. You can see all of those, the replays, on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. So please check those out. We'll take a quick break. And right after the break, we'll do a little bit more chatting on drag racing before we wrap up this 185th episode of Between the Slicks. Again, the Top Fuel coverage was brought to you by, on the Monday Morning Racer platform, Ross Racing Engines and Hilton Hot Rods. This word from Hilton Hot Rods. Bobby Hilton knows how to win on the drag strip. Bobby Hilton knows how to win in hot rodding. Hilton Hot Rods out of the Commonwealth of Virginia builds some of the finest hot rods in the scene of hot rodding. And that's evident with multiple covers from Hot Rod Magazine and prestigious awards such as the Good Guys Hot Rod of the Year. If you want to ride to the hilt in your hot rod, it needs to be a Hilton Hot Rod. I'm going to go all the way up in the comment section to the first comment. Chris Portillo, there wasn't an extra I in there. Hope I've got it right. Chris, he chimed in, no Steve Torrence at the Arizona Nationals this weekend. That's right. It looks like, from everything I have seen, there are 15 top fuelers that we can expect at the Arizona Nationals. And just one shy of that full field, and that one that is glaringly missing is Steve Torrence. We all, earlier this year in the offseason, wondered, well, how much will Steve Torrence and the Capco boys do? They were not there at the SCAG Pro Superstar Shootout. They had out there the rumors, maybe not they did, but there was the rumors that Steve wasn't coming back at all. Granted, they were buying parts and pieces like from McKinney Corp. So they're going to do something. And, they were there in Gainesville, but they are not going to be at the Arizona Nationals. What is up with that? I don't know. Except that I think Steve Torrence, Billy Torrence, the Torrence family and the Capco team, they're going to do what they want to do. They are not at the mercy, if you will, of marketing partners. It is their program, fully funded by what they're doing. And maybe business is just that good that they need to devote such efforts to the business and not go racing, especially in Top Fuel. Maybe Steve Torrence is just kind of tired of it. And if he is and steps away and doesn't run that often, he's still one of the greats to ever do it in Top Fuel. So just expect that we are in a time frame in NHRA, Mission Foods Professional Drag Racing in Top Fuel, that we may not see Steve Torrence each and every national event. And I don't think that's odd in drag racing. I know that we are accustomed to seeing several top racers each and every weekend, but remember, there was a time that in professional drag racing, you might not always see that top name at an NHRA national event. They might have run an IHRA event or a match race instead of going to a national event elsewhere. That was a bit of a different time. Sometimes they were acting in protest, such as Don Garlitz. There was a period in time he wasn't running NHRA for a myriad of reasons. So keep that in mind. Don't know what exactly is happening. Don't know where that team is. I think it is a lot of things going on with the Capco team for them not running Arizona and possibly beyond. We're going to see them again this year, I'm sure of it, but certainly different time. Jacob chimes in and says, I heard him quip that he was fighting the sanctioning body at Gainesville, and it was out of context in the interview itself, so it was kind of surprising. Okay, great. I mean, I don't know what he's fighting on in particular, but if there's an individual that can do it, Steve Torrance certainly can. I mean, they are not beholden to marketing partners. Capco is a very successful business in the oil and pipeline industry. They can call the shots as they want to and need to. And also, Billy Torrance, he's on record many times that he really enjoys the Super Comp dragster more than his top fuelers. So I'm sure he's out there doing Super Comp drag racing somewhere, and we just don't see Steve and Billy there at the national events. You never know. Might see that car come out for rent. Who knows? You never know in the world that drag racing is today. But looks like we got 15 top fuelers. I believe there's 20 Nitro Funny cars. There's like 24 pro stock machines out there. There's 20 pro mods. Got some good fields out there for the NHRA Arizona Nationals. By the way, just so glad that we still have Firebird Motorsports Park. And a lesson, I think, for all of us. When we hear of a track closing, when we hear of a track going by the wayside, let's take a moment, take a deep breath, because it may not be the end. There's still some hope for like Palm Beach International Raceway. There's still hope for some of the others that are out there that are laying dormant. But Firebird Motorsports Park, they're just south of Phoenix. It was one that we thought was completely gone. We're never coming back, and complete reversal. We're back there and have already held national events. This is not the first time back. So glad that they are going back. Glad that we have the national event still there, and that Firebird Motorsports Park functions as a car culture epicenter for that area that is one of the biggest areas in the country at this point and continues to grow, the Phoenix metropolitan area there in the state of Arizona. Remember, this weekend, a lot more drag racing is taking place. Let me stress it once again that the Southeast Gassers Association, their season opener this weekend at South Georgia Motorsports Park. And we are certainly looking forward to that race. I will be there working with the Southeast Gassers Association, the Spring Nationals presented by Harbin's Mechanical Services at South Georgia Motorsports Park. This will be the biggest venue for the Southeast Gassers Association ever for a points-earning event, and it's firing up the 2025 season. And you can see here this great work done by SoutheastGassersGears.com, or SoutheastGassersGear.com, rather. Owner Stephen Smith, of the great posters that he puts out for the Southeast Gassers Association. Well, we start out there in South Georgia, then we're in western North Carolina, just outside of Shelby at Shadyside Dragway, and then we're in the state of Alabama for the Bama Brawl for the Southeast Gassers Association. If you have not caught one of these events, you need to be there. And let me say, as I have been dropping, if you're not able to be in South Georgia, as you should be, just make sure you pay attention to the Southeast Gassers Association YouTube channel. If you are not subscribed to the Southeast Gassers Association YouTube channel, and subscribing is free, go on YouTube, search Southeast Gassers Association, look for the official channel, and make sure you subscribe, and then hit that bell icon for notifications. You'll want to do it for the action taking place at South Georgia Motorsports Park this weekend. Now, folks, thank you for joining in. Just wanted to have a conversation with Blake. The 67th Good Vibrations Motorsports March Meet was spectacular. Take the time, go look at all the coverage that is out there. Some great outlets have put out a lot of good coverage, and go by the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel and check out those videos on AA Fuel Altered, Nitro Funny Car, and Top Fuel Eliminator. By the way, especially hit the share button, hit the like button, get the word out on the videos that are Top Fuel Eliminator and Nitro Funny Car. The AA Fuel Altered video is doing phenomenally well right now, and the other videos are doing good, but they certainly could be doing better. So help me out. Go by, watch, like them, share them on your personal profiles throughout social media, And thank you all for watching this 185th episode of Between the Slicks. Don't know when we will air next week. I really need to get back to a normal day, a routine day, streaming Between the Slicks. But there are so many other shows that I'm a part of now, whether it's Chaos Live or Sega Live or Competition Plus Power Hour, and all very thankful for that I am a part of this and doing this and able to communicate with all of you out there in the world of drag racing and argue about it, laugh about it, debate about it, have fun around it. That's what this is all about, ultimately. Have fun. Had fun at the March meet. It was a lot of work, but it was a great event. And thank you for those that stepped up to cover, along with Monday Morning Racer, at the 67th Good Vibrations Motorsports March meet. Again, I've said it with the top fuel coverage, Ross Racing Engines. So whether you are rodding or racing, you need Ross Racing Engines, Hilton Hot Rods. If you're going to drive a hot rod to the hilt, it's Hilton Hot Rods that you need to drive. And then also for AA fuel altered chaos, and McKinney Corp bringing you the Nitro Funny Car action. A word from them as we close. Thank you all for watching. God bless, and keep the pedal to the metal. Until next time, this has been Between the Slicks, and I'm Lee Kraft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer.
McKinney Motorsports is your #1 source for all your chassis needs. McKinney Motorsports is the leading chassis parts supplier and fabricator in nitro drag racing. From custom tanks and fittings, full chassis builds, body mounts, steering components, fasteners, tabs, clamps, composite parts, and much more. Our household name in the racing world guarantees added performance on the track. Join our list of proven winners that spans over 50 years of racing experience.